The uproar over WikiLeaks continues. Last week, the Obama administration and the DoD ordered hundreds of thousands of federal employees and contractors not to view the secret cables and other classified documents published by WikiLeaks and news organizations around the world, unless they have the required security clearance or authorization. Now, universities are warning students that they better not read the WikiLeaks documents or post links to them or even mention them on social media, because they could prevent them from getting the necessary security clearances to get a job. Now, letters from both BU and Columbia University were made public. However, Columbia has since reversed their position. But is this kind of intimidation? And that's what it really is, intimidation. Is that really the best way to go about this? Is asking people to close their eyes and pretend that the leak never happened really what America is resorting to? Well, joining me to discuss it is Christopher Chambers, Georgetown University professor and author of the blog Nat Turner's Revenge. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Back.
This just seems absolutely absurd to me. Tell me if you think it's as crazy as I do. And I think that the New York Times actually probably put it the best way when they were referring to the Obama administration telling federal workers that they can't look at them, is shutting the barn door after the horse had left. I mean, these documents, they've been leaked. They're already published online in every major newspaper.
It's silly. I mean, first of all, I mean, it's one of these weird issues where academic freedom, civil liberties, and journalism all seem to intersect. And a year ago, when you were interviewing Julian Assange, and when you and I were talking about it, I never thought it would come to this. But, you know, a year later, the world changes. I mean, I can tell you with confidence that at Georgetown, there are students and faculty that are informally talking about this and looking at ways of pushing back. There are at Oklahoma University and at Columbia itself, because this is ridiculous when you're telling other people, you know, potential not just really State Department workers, but you're sending the message out there, as is Senator Joe Lieberman when he pressures private businesses, that, you know, we're going to go after a certain news source. And that's what they are, really, is a news source. They're a news source because they publish information. They also, there's no nexus that has been shown that this information has resulted in somebody getting killed or about to be killed. It's an embarrassment, especially if you're a Gulf oil monarch or a member of the State Department. That's what the State Department should be doing, is training its employees not to violate the law, because there's no protection for illegally obtained information under the First Amendment. So if you want to stop this, train your people better.
Well, that's what I find so hilarious about it, too, you know, is because essentially they're saying to these students that everything you do online, if you, like I said, if you even mention the word WikiLeaks, if you want to write on someone's Facebook wall, that will be monitored and that'll come back to bite you. But I mean, how many times have we talked about the intelligence in our country failing? Because there's no way that they can possibly even keep track of all
this is designed as in terms of the chilling effect. What Senator Lieberman's doing, it's the same kind of thing. And again, I mean, you know, if you don't like the man, if you don't like Julian and his eccentricities, etc., that's one thing. But, you know, focusing on one news source like this, I mean, are you going to do it to the New York Times or CBS or Fox News? Because you can this can escalate. This is the classic cliched slippery slope. So what if you're Fox News and you want to dig up stuff on Barack Obama and Michelle? Maybe there's some things there that you know, maybe they're having an affair. Maybe Michelle is secretly a communist. The government can then just say, well, this is a state secret. This is
it's putting our national security at risk, because everything puts our national security at risk these days.
And if private people, especially students, start looking at this, oh, well, we can come after you too. You know, we can pressure private businesses to defund, you know, PayPal, the pipeline to PayPal. I mean, this is the slippery slope's a cliche. Here, it really is real.
Not to mention, I mean, I feel like this is like, you know, the thought police. I feel like we're living in some kind of an Orwell novel here, because they're essentially, I mean, why would you want somebody working for the government that doesn't watch, you know, TV news, that doesn't read the main publications, that doesn't know anything that was published in WikiLeaks? They're asking to dumb them down.
There is a rational basis, you know, the old Hatch Act and things like that. I mean, there's certain things federal employees can't do. But, I mean, this is an organic process. I mean, before they didn't want gays working in the government, or people who read Kurt Vonnegut or D.H. Lawrence maybe 100 years ago.
Yeah, intellectual curiosity is somehow always made to be a bad thing.
Exactly. I mean, they have that ability to set certain parameters, and there are some reasonable bases for this. I mean, even under the Hatch Act, which has actually gotten more liberal in terms of what federal employees can do in terms of political affiliation. I mean, freedom of speech and freedom of affiliation, but there's that, and this has gone totally beyond the pale.
Well, you also, you're a professor. You teach students, and how does that, infringe upon academic speech? I mean, shouldn't this be something that is being discussed in universities, that allows for some kind of discourse?
Ironically, Alona, there are safe harbors, even if you're studying something like kiddie porn, say in our program or in the law school, where there are certain, they're very narrow and they're very shallow, but there's still safe harbors. Here, there isn't even that safety valve there. Well, can we study WikiLeaks? Can we at least look at how this happened? And we don't agree with this? Maybe we side with Senator Lieberman. You can't even do that under these blanket, very vague, weird standards. You can't even mention it.
Act like they don't even exist.
Exactly. It's sad, and that's what academics are worried about. Now, I hope people out there, regular people who aren't students, are worrying about it. I mean, where is the Tea Party that talks about saving us from our government? They're remarkably silent here. And I have some very conservative...
That's a good point. I hadn't even thought of that.
I have some very conservative students who are bringing that up, and they seem to be braver than their older counterparts.
And another thing that I find disturbing too is you have to think about the economic climate that we're in right now, right? I mean, unemployment is at 9.8%.
Exactly.
Coming out of college, you in no way are guaranteed to find work. So, I mean, this probably will scare some students.
Exactly, and it will. I mean, and again, I think that's very calculated, and I think that's a really good comment and commentary on how certain norms, certain policies, certain ways of thinking continue from one presidential administration to another, or from one political party to another. Because there's a remarkable, weird amount of solidarity here on this. And again, I mean, why is that? And why are, I said, Gulf oil monarchs given a pass? They're the ones who a lot of their communiques were exposed. They seem to be the ones that don't seem to have any problem. They're insulated. But we're going after our own people on this, including students. It doesn't make any sense. And I think this is going to backfire very seriously when you compare it to statements that the President and Secretary of State Clinton have made on freedom and on the Internet.
Freedom, the freedom of speech, on transparency, on everything. And I hope that it does backfire, because, I mean, this really is scary. Like we said, it's not just a slippery slope. I mean, this is happening now.
Exactly.
It's censorship, it's thought police, it's freaking me out.
But who would have known Julian Assange would have opened up this Pandora's box?
Indeed.
It is amazing.
Chris, thanks so much for being here.